Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. We're going to do something fun with some cardstock today to create this nice background. And it's a floating background, which I'll show you a bit more in a minute. We're going to feature this My Small Business stamp set to make this sort of text background that I'm going to use as the feature there. Great set this is to have in your stash, and I know that there is like, you know, sort of business sort of style things in there, but there's several in there, you know, images that you can use. You've got great handmade for you, so even if you're just baking some cookies for someone as a present, and you doesn't even have to be, you know, as part of a business, you know, if you were to stick a tag on there saying made with love or something, that would be really cute too. The package you can use on its own, and the gift. So there's absolutely, and support as well. Support doesn't necessarily mean financial support. Support can be whatever you deem it to be. Okay, so don't think of it as just a business stamp set. There's lots of other things you can use that for as well. And then the other focus for the cards today are the in colours. So our beautiful 2023 in colours will retire in a few months' time. The new catalogue will be coming out at the beginning of May, and with it we will get 5 brand new in colours that will replace these ones. So these have been a really nice addition to the Stampin' Up colour palettes, and they combine with so many different things, and you can use them with the gold, silvers and coppers as well. So really lovely set, and of course my personal favourite being Wild Wheat, of course. These ones will be going away, so this is your sort of 5-minute warning, if you like, that you know, the stock will start to dwindle of these and may not necessarily be replenished. So don't know how much there is, or how soon it might sell out. So it's just that heads up that if you like these ink pads, reinkers, cardstock, the coordinating ribbon, there's DSP as well, all that kind of stuff that's in the in colours will retire very shortly. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to pop those back into my little shelving unit. My Stampin' Up storage is right in front of me, so I'm just going to pop those straight back in there and bring in our in colours that came in last year. Okay, so these ones will be sticking around for another year. So we have Summer Splash, Pretty in Pink, Shy Shamrock, Peach Pie and Petunia Pop. Okay, so I think Shy Shamrock probably should be the colour of the month, shouldn't it, really, with St Patrick's Day not too far away. So we're going to recreate this card with this method using these in colours instead. So just got the ink pads out there just to sort of display those for you. And then, like I said, it is a floating sort of cardstock idea. So basically I've tipped that up, I've put that up onto acetate, which means you get the shine in the background, but also it's popped up and makes it look like each of those strips has been sort of stuck on individually, and remarkably straight. Okay, so that's that, and then obviously we'll stamp this little panel here as well. Okay, so let's get moving with that then. We're going to need, well, I haven't even got that out, we'll have another, put a plain white background layer and a plain white card base, so they're ready to go when we're ready to assemble our card. So the acetate that we're using is packaging material. So when you get so it's going to be super hard for you to see that, isn't it? Let me get my little craft sheet out, which is what we're going to need anyway. So we're going to use one of these silicone craft sheets to help us with this. Does that make it easier or harder? Well, you can sort of see it there reflecting off there. This is actually off stamp sets. Okay, so when you get a stamp set, like especially the photopolymer stamp set, this is, okay, you'll get like a thinner sheet of plastic. Now I keep that thinner sheet over my stamps to keep them dust free, but they'll also be they won't be adhered to the case, they will be loose on another piece of plastic, and it's that piece of plastic that I would normally discard, which I don't discard. I've got a whole pile of them over there that I'm using, and obviously there'll be different sizes depending on what size the stamp set is, but that's essentially what I've used. Okay, so there might be a few marks on it. Now for this technique it probably doesn't matter too much, okay, there's a few little scuffs and things like that, okay, but there is also like little outlines of where the stamps had been stuck down to that, and I just used a little spritz of like hand sanitizer and wiped it over, and that got rid of most of those marks, in fairness. So there's just a few little scuffs where it's rattled around in the case a little bit, you know, but for this technique it's not going to matter too much. Now I hope this isn't going to be super hard for you to see, but unfortunately working with a see-through material it is going to be a little bit difficult, but I think you'll get the general idea of what we're going to go for. I've already pre-cut my little strips. These are 1/4 inch strips, or 1/2 centimetre I guess, of the 5 coloured cardstocks, which I've laid out in what I think is an appealing order. You can mix and match this as much as you like. You can just do one set, shrink it down, you know, you could fill the whole background if you've got a piece of acetate big enough, so you can sort of expand the idea as you want, based on the project you want to do. Okay, so we'll use some of our multi-purpose glue for this, okay, because you'll need something strong to adhere to the acetate. It's going to sort of, you know, it's not going to really it's not going to like a dry adhesive like dimensionals or whatever, or tape. I could probably get away with it just as a quick fix, but it's probably not very permanent. So we're going to use a little bit of that, just a little streak. Let's move that out the way. I think we can leave the lid off just while we're doing this. And the first strip is going to go straight on there along that top edge. And if you're working, I mean, I would just assume you'll be working under some light, so have some light near your desk so you can see where your acetate is. And I'm just lining that up with the top edge, and we're going to continue down. Oops. The sheet. Working on the silicone thing means that any excess glue will just go to the back and it will just be able to wipe it away. So I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch, couple of mil between each of those, and you might find that it pings up a little bit, so you might need to just press that down just for a second or two just to make sure it's going to start sticking. The mono adhesive, the what do they call it, multi-purpose liquid glue is what you'll find it described as in the store, I think. It's what we call fast grab, so it starts to set quite quickly but won't be fully set for a little bit, so you've got a moment or two just to make sure you've got your spacing right. What I will say is, if you smear any glue because you're readjusting anything, you'll have to wait for it to dry and just carefully remove it with a eraser, whether that be something specific for the job or just a good quality white eraser will work too. Okay, now this bit's a bit shorter, so we'll just got a bit less wriggle room at either end, but that's fine, so long as we've got enough to cover the acetate, then that's fine. So I eyeballed this to sort of see whether this width was about right for what I wanted, which it was. So when I did this with the original sample, once I'd put all the bits and pieces on, there was a little bit of excess acetate, which is fine, which I just trimmed off. So what you want to be careful of is this doesn't end up wider than the panel that you want, because I want the strips to go north-south vertically rather than horizontally. However, the backup plan is, if you end up going too long on it and it doesn't fit on a card front that way, you can spin it round and use it the other way. So plan B is there as a contingency measure should we need it. Whoops. This is the one that's a little short, so we'll just, so you don't want tons of glue. The less glue you can use, the faster it will dry. Okay, and it's really nice strong glue. Really good. So obviously, if you want to zip through and speed this up a little bit, please do so. Just sticking this down. While we're just concentrating on this, just tell you as well, just to make sure that you have a look at the online store as well. There's been a new release of online exclusive products. There's some real crackers in there. There's a really nice new mask set, which I'll be demonstrating with soon. You may have already seen it being used by others. I want to say it's called Thankful Garden without looking up at my my shelves above me. Or Garden of Thanks. Where are my T's? I want to say it's Thankful Garden. Anyhow, so it's something like that anyway, but there's a layering stencil mask in there, which makes these really cute hydrangeas and sort of more generic sort of looking flowers that could probably pass as poppies or maybe anemones or something like that, which is lovely. There's a great new set of punches for making ribbon slots, holes and tag tops, and then mini punches which are super cute and can just sit on your desk. That's going to need to dry, so we'll pop that to one side, and I'm going to put my E-block on top of it. My E-block, I'm going to pop that over there with a bit of weight on it. In fact, I've got two, so I'm going to put two on, so that can be sat there drying while we do our stamping. And another favourite of mine is the mixed florals. Love that. The little punches go with a nice sentiment set called Tag of Thanks. So there's all sorts of stuff in there. Let me just check the width of this. So that's going to be longer than we need it to be. So in fact, this bit might be better. Yes, I'm going to use this bit, which is deeper than we need it to be. But it's always good to have a bit of wriggle room when you're doing some of this, some of these techniques. So there's two thanks stamps. There's the block, bigger block, and the sort of skinnier one. So this one's going to be the feature sentiment, if you like. And what I did with this card was I started off with the central colour and worked outwards, almost. So it sort of brought it together and worked out to the other things. So Pebble Path is in the middle, and then Boho Blue's either side. And then I brought in the Wild Wheat, the Copper Clays at opposite corners, and then the Moody Mauve at opposite corners. So that's how I kind of balanced that out a little bit. So with that, our central colour is going to be Summer Splash. Okay, really nice blue-green colour. Really quite bright. And it's one of those sort of colours that, depending on what you put it with, it looks a bit more blue or green, depending on what's around it. Okay, if it helps, use some grease paper to make sure that you're lined up. But I'm just going to press that down in the middle there. Just firm and even pressure. I'm not pressing hard, just firmly. Okay, just letting that ink transfer across there, and it's virtually all gone off the stamp. But obviously we're going to be moving between colours, so we'll just want to be able to just get that. Just going to scrub that off before we move on to our next colour. So we want to fill in the ends, and our next colour, if we follow our paper or cardstock strips, it's going to be Pretty in Pink. Isn't this gorgeous? So we just need sort of the S and maybe a little bit of the K, just for good measure, on here. And it looks really light when it's on the stamp, but it'll be grand when we put it on. So just the very edges of that K end up on there. And again, we'll just do the T and part of that H, just to make sure we clip the edge of that. Just pop that in there. Okay, as it happens, didn't really need that, but that's how it's turned out. Maybe the gap's a little bit bigger there. Okay, so that's enough with the big one. Let's pop that over there out of the way. What do we got next? Shy Shamrock. So we're going to switch now to this smaller set. Okay, and the top of the photopolymer on this has some quite nice straight edges, which I'm going to use to help me line that up with the block lettering on the this bigger stamp here. Okay, so hopefully you can see that well enough. Might zoom you in a little bit. There we go. So we'll ink this up, so we're probably going to see the whole word other than this one. Okay, I want some room to fill in the other one, and I'm going to hover over the top, and I'm lining up the bottom of that photopolymer with the top of those Summer Splash letters. Okay, so now when you've got those two colours together, you can definitely see the blue in this and how green that is. Okay, and we'll drop another one in underneath. Same thing applies, the top of the photopolymer on this one lining up with the bottom of the block lettering above. Okay, peach pie, very peachy. Again, we just want the last few letters of this, same thing, popping that on, then another one in these sort of opposing corners. Like so. That might not be as straight as it could be. And then last but not least, my personal favourite, oh, it's a tough call between this one and Pretty in Pink actually. They're both really nice. Is our last one. I'm actually gonna ink up the whole stamp for this last bit. I think I've shuffled this one over a little more than I did on my previous sample. Doesn't quite get the whole word, but almost. So again, just lining that up. Trying not to get my head underneath the camera. Don't think I'm going to be counting my grey hairs on the top there. Okay, just wiping that off my surface. The surface I work on, just in case you're curious, is it's a silicone kitchen worktop sort of saver thing, and it's great because you can get it wet, spritz it with stuff and clean it because it's for the kitchen. It doesn't get freezing cold like a glass mat, which is a personal important consideration in my particular space. I don't like being cold, so I don't want a cold glass mat underneath. And it's a bit springy, which means you can stamp on it nicely, in my personal opinion. So it has some advantages, and also it doesn't grip ink pads per se, but they don't slide, shall we say. I mean, that would just get all over the place, right? A silicone craft sheet, again, I wouldn't say has a lot of extra grip on it, but it's better than a slick surface in terms of not having your ink pads flying about all over the place. Okay, stamps out the way. Trimmer. So, sorry, my bits are over there, so I'm trying to make sure I've got all this in shot for you. And let's zoom you back out. Now, if I've stamped this anything like straight, I'm hoping, ooh, not too bad. I can use my trimmer, and it's very difficult to see with the glare on there. I'm hoping that you can see that the track where the blade's going to go is just lining up with the very edge of that text. Okay, now you might choose to have a bit of a white border there if you wanted to, so shimmy it back as much as you want. It's your design. I'm opting for making it sort of nice and sort of skinny, so that that background element is visible, and then we'll spin it around and do exactly the same thing. Line it up so that the edge of the stamping is just alongside that cutting track, and you'll get this lovely multicoloured sentiment panel. Cute, right? Cute. We will need this again, so let's pop that to one side. These are probably dry enough to manipulate. Let's pop these back in the drawer out the way. Space is of a premium in this in my little craft space here. Okay, so yes, so those look like they're just floating now. Okay, like I've got hold of all those papers and they're just floating there. Okay, so that's our clean edge, if you like. Okay, so we'll use that to square this up, and then you can flip it over, and again you can line it up in your trimmer. You don't have to get right up close to the acetate. I wouldn't recommend trying to cut through the cardstock and the acetate at the same time on your blades, really. Let's just go through the cardstock, but also like make sure it's dry and stuff. Okay, so any little of these bits we'll just get rid of, and I'll just use a little brush to get that little snaggly bit that's ended up down there. It's amazing how much paper bits and pieces end up down there, I'll tell you. We might just need to sometimes it will snag if it hasn't fully dried, so you leave it longer than I have. You know, it's a video and have to try and do things in quick time, or cut it with your scissors. That's the other thing, right? So we've got the bottom to chop off, which I might do with the scissors actually. I just cutting things from behind with scissors. Sorry if you can't see this, I'm just popping it down to the bottom so that I can butt that against the bottom there, and just pressing that down firmly and get rid of these little bits. Those are going to end up everywhere, I can tell. Right. Then we can tidy it up with our scissors. Now, because there's like gluey bits and stuff, I'm going to use my I'm not going to use my Stampin' Up paper snips. I'm going to use my scissors that I dedicate to sticky stuff and mucky stuff. Just rubbing over that now. So that's ironed out all those little crinkles that have ended up on there. Okay, and then you can just tidy that up. So right-handed people, if you're right-handed, you will be able to just snip along there, no problem. It isn't that easy when you're left-handed. I don't know why. I think it's just the way the blades are. I just find it really, really tricky and awkward. Okay, so that's probably not as neat as I'd like it to be, really. And that bit's got a bit snaggled as it went through the trimmer, so we'll just tidy that up a little bit. There we go. Cool. And then we just need to take off that excess bit of acetate there. So we'll just run along the edge of that last bit of petunia pop that we put down. Comme ça. Okay, let's do a quick brush up of the table here so we don't end up with all these little bits everywhere. Somewhere I've got a little mini dustpan, but it's not right at hand right now. Okay, so don't know where I put my thing. There we go. So you could stick this directly to the card front if you wanted to. That's the other thing to say, you don't have to have the extra layer on this. It's just something I like to have, is the extra layer, just to finish it off. Just think it looks nicer, but it's totally optional. You don't have to do that at all. I'm just making sure that those edges are sat nice. Okay, so that's going to sit on there, but we don't want it flat, we want it raised up. So we will need mini dimensionals for this. You don't need tons, and that's why these are 1/4 inch, because guess what, the minis will fit on there beautifully. Okay, and you don't need them everywhere. Okay, what was it as it hit there, so let's get it off. So I'm just going to pop in a couple on these peach pie strips here. If you press the centres of these with your nail or your tweezers or whatever you're using, then it makes it easier for those backings to come off. Okay, so I'm not going mad with the dimensionals, and obviously you don't want to put them where those the see-through bits are. Okay, so let's just peel those off because they're nice and stood up, ready to be peeled, and we can get that centered onto a bit of glue stuck there, centered onto our cardstock, looking left and right in particular. If it's slightly up and down, that's entirely up to you in terms of your design choice. I'll press that down. Okay, and I'm going to get that adhered to my card base right now. Again, you know, you don't have to have this extra white layer. I just like to have it as that sort of finishing little touch, gives it a bit of stability. There we go. Make sure your top crease is well burnished and then it'll stand up. And the last thing to do is tape down our panel here, which I'm just putting on flat with seal. And again, I'm offsetting this. It's central left and right, but I'm having it so that it's slightly above centre, just to sort of emphasize that background a little bit. And the finishing touches are going to be these low profile dots, which are petal pinkish and gold. So of course gold and silver stuff is great to have in our collection because it goes with everything. And of course we want nice odd number of these. We have less room at the top, so I'm going to go 3 at the bottom and 2 at the top in the usual sort of fashion that you've seen me do all the time. It just helps give you a little bit of sparkle and bling. I'll do where it's landed is fine. Okay, so that's that. But imagine this, you don't have to use 5 colours in any way, shape or form. You could use different size strips, different colour combinations. Oh, could you see that? Oh, I hope you could see that. You know, expand this as much as you want as per the recipient of the card that you are going to make. So of course this features our current in colours, and these ones are staying. These ones are the retiring ones, okay, which you will be sad to see actually go. There's some really nice ones there, but I'm sure we're going to get some really nice colours in the next one. Don't know what they are. We never know what they are ahead of time. We won't know till the pre-order starts, which is usually about a month before catalogue go live. So yeah, there you go. It's going to be a surprise. Can't wait. It's nice to get a refresh, different things to play with. So that's it. That's my sort of floating card idea, featuring the in colours and some using up some scraps, building a background, using up waste idea for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please do consider liking, subscribing, pressing the bell for any notifications. Try and post at least once a week to the channel. Sometimes it's a bit more. And there's lots more on Instagram as well, so you can hop over to Instagram at Stampin Up with Inky Butterfly. Details are in the description, as are all the links to the products I have used today. So thank you so much for joining me. I do hope you're staying safe. Do take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.